Hello everyone, Sock Monkey here, and today I have for you the 80,000 mile update on the Lexus CT200h hybrid. And we took delivery of the car on March 31st, and it is now, today is June 28th, and we've already put 5,000 miles on the vehicle. We had it with 75,000 and some change, and it now has 80,012. There's been quite a few things that have been happening with the car. Starting off, unfortunately, we have gotten some little battle scars. Bumped into a few things. Someone rear-ended me, actually, when I was driving home from work. Thankfully, there was not a whole lot of damage. There was no damage on her car. There was no damage on this car. So, this is, of course, in the Starfire Pro with the beige Nulux. I know there's a specific color. It'll come to me. Ooh, just no, wait, that's not car brush. And unfortunately, and I know people are just gonna cringe at this, I did bump the car in the front. I was trying to back into a spot at my apartment complex and hit the neighbor's Suburban. We're gonna get it fixed eventually, just don't have the money right now to get it fixed. So it doesn't affect drivability, it doesn't even affect like the headlamps or anything that much. So, and then there's some scuffs in that down there. My wife's not too concerned about it. I'm concerned about it, but my wife's not concerned about it. I mean, she drove her Prius with a huge scratch in the door for like years. Couple things I want to mention. One thing I want to mention, we did have to replace both the headlamps. These are just regular old halogens. These aren't HIDs or anything. The DRLs, and I'll just turn them on real quick. Actually, I should probably turn on the car and start her up real quick. It has 80,012 miles, and yes, I know it does have oil maintenance, and we will have to get that done soon. I've been putting the lion's share of the mileage on this car, being that I've been driving it to work, and I actually have a job I actually have a training for a second job tonight, so I'll be putting more mileage on it. Yeah, no, the hood's open. Current mileage, this tank is 43.5 mpg. Averaging 43.4, but I have gotten this thing into the 50s as far as mileage. One thing I did want to show you is it was actually pretty easy for the most part to do the head. Yeah, I know. It's just gonna bing at me because it's just gonna bing the crap out of me. Oh, I don't know how these scratches happened. That's unfortunate. I think they were there when we got the car. Let me open. So, underneath the hood here, you do have, of course, the 1.8 liter engine shared with the Prius of the day. So what happened is there's these clips, and this one is coming off, but basically under the hood you do have these plastic clips that you just pop off, and then you have to pull this piece off, and you're supposed to pull the hose off, but yet my wife was actually able, because she's short, to get at the lights, the bulb here, and as you can see, the headlamps here are the DRLs are LED. So I'll just it's gonna beep at me again, I know. Just turn on the headlamps and show you. Of course, they are just regular old halogens. So outside of that little damage, the only other thing that we've really had to do to the car is I noticed last week that when you would close the door, it would make a pop, pop, pop noise. and now it's just working just like it should be. Found out that the cope, because my first thought that worried me was it's the bumper's rubbing into the fender, or the fender's rubbing into the door. Turns out what the problem was is these little screws right here, and you can tighten them up. My brother-in-law actually tightened up with a 1/4-inch ratchet and a 10mm socket, and they're good to go. So that was the only other thing that we've really had to do. So far, everything so far in this car has been great. Seats don't have a whole lot of wear on them. And everything is working as well as it should. Infotainment system, I'm just going to turn off the stereo here because to show you if my thing will actually focus, because it won't, of course. There you go. Infotainment works really well. A couple of things that I'm just not crazy about. For example, if you turn the dial, sometimes it doesn't always automatically, it may not automatically register that you did the dial, but that you turned it, but a lot of times it does, so a lot of times it works as intended. Another thing that I've kind of noticed, sometimes I've gone to hit the EV mode button. Right now it is an EV mode, but I've accidentally hit the park button. Like, if you go down the road and you accidentally hit the park button, it'll just throw it into neutral. Yeah, I know. It's gonna beep at me until I throw it in park. So that's that's the thing you have to get used to. The other thing that kind of irritates me a little bit about the infotainment system is sometimes it doesn't pick up always on commands. It doesn't always pick up on commands with the nav system. But overall, I do find the nav to be really intuitive. I find the navigation to be really intuitive. The only other thing that I've had to get some practice on is my area is made up of a lot of fire addresses that are, like, for example, 27 West 151, for instance, is a fire address. So a lot of people just say 27W151, and you have to say 27 West 151. One feature I really do love is the sunroof. One thing that kind of is annoying though is you cannot turn the car off without it warning you that the sunroof is open. But like I said, I do love having the sunroof open. Most of the times I don't even bother with the air conditioning. I just have the sunroof open. Climate control works as well as intended. Console with storage. And we tightened my brother-in-law and I tightened all the screws on the doors. Haven't really had to use the back seat for much other than just carrying things. But it like I said, it's worked as intended. So sometimes the back seats are finicky about opening, but they do open, but they do fold down. They do fold down. So coming around to the back, you'll notice something. There was a badge on the back, a Ukrainian badge. My wife and I are not Ukrainian, so we took it off. Don't mind all the junk in the back, but so far, like, the cargo cover and everything has worked out great. It's actually very easy to pull it out too if you need it for longer loads. So that works out great. Of course, it's nice to have the backup camera. If I can actually find it. There it is. It's nice to have the backup camera. But so far we've really enjoyed having this car. It's been a really great car. It's a really great, very comfortable car for long trips, and a very good commuter. And we're planning on just keeping this thing, well, my wife anyway. I want a Subaru, but that's just me. We're definitely going to plan on keeping this car till the wheels fall off of it. Another thing that, let me see here. Trying to think, is it the wipers? I think that was, sometimes I think the wipers don't always reach to get the washers don't always reach to get all the spots. Like, for example, I had a issue with a spot that was like way down there that made me think it was a crack in the windshield, but it wasn't a crack in the windshield. But yeah, that was fine, and it's just been a great performing car, and we've been able to get some really good mileage out of it. So thank you guys for watching, and have a good one. That was hairy for a second. What on earth are you doing? That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Really?